I arrived at my sister's graduation ceremony, only to be stopped by security. Before I could react, my sister Jessica shouted, "You don't belong here!" while our parents laughed behind her. I swallowed my pride and left quietly. The next morning, I texted her, "Starting next month, you're responsible for your own rent." Within hours, she was at my doorstep, crying. I'd discovered Jessica's graduation party the same way I always learned about family events, by accident. No invitation, not even a casual, "Are you coming?" from our parents. Instead, photos of the celebration flooded our family group chat. Elegant decorations, gold and navy balloons, a custom cake with, "You did it, Jess," written in cursive. Aunt Linda had already posted on Facebook, "My brilliant niece is going to change the world." Jessica graduated from Southern Connecticut State University, not Harvard, but our parents acted as if she'd cured cancer. Meanwhile, I'd been silently funding her life, $600 a month for rent, plus $3,000 per semester for tuition. Our parents called it family support, but they weren't the ones sacrificing their savings or surviving on instant noodles. That was me, every month, without fail. No gratitude, no acknowledgement, just silence. It wasn't about the money. I'd hoped my efforts would make them see me as someone who mattered. For 9 years, I was an only child. Then Jessica was born, and everything changed. She became the center of attention, while I faded into the background, useful when needed, forgotten otherwise. When the graduation photos appeared in the chat, I waited before texting Mom, "Where's the party?" Her reply was cold. "Fairfield, the house from Amanda's bridal shower. Oh, I thought you knew." No explanation, just an address, tossed at me like an afterthought. I didn't ask who was invited. I already knew. Everyone. Uncle Mike mentioned lawn chairs for the cousins. Dad joked about Grandpa needing earplugs. They'd planned a full celebration and excluded me without a second thought. I live alone in West Haven, struggling to afford my tiny apartment. But I dressed carefully that day, white shirt, clean jeans, and drove to Fairfield, clinging to the hope that they'd simply forgotten to invite me. I recognized the house by the familiar cars, Uncle's Yukon, Megan's beat-up Camry, Dad's truck. Oddly, Grandma and Grandpa's car was missing. They never missed family events. At the gate, 2 guards stopped me. "Private party," one said. I explained it was my sister's graduation. They exchanged glances before one went inside. Minutes later, Jessica appeared with our parents. She looked like a celebrity, sparkling dress, perfect hair, phone in hand as if bored. She glanced at me and told the guards, "He doesn't belong here." I almost laughed, thinking it was a joke. Then I saw Dad's smirk. "You actually came?" he said. "After all your recent comments?" I hadn't said a word. Mom added, "Daniel, this is a happy occasion. We didn't want drama." I pay her rent, I pay her tuition, and I'm the drama? Jessica rolled her eyes. "You didn't do this for me. You did it to control me. Everything's always about you." "You're welcome," I replied. She turned and walked away as if I were a nuisance. Dad shrugged. "Maybe you should have checked if you were invited." I didn't argue. I just said, "Right," and left. At home, I stared at my ceiling, then sent Jessica the text. "Starting next month, you're on your own for rent. Good luck." By morning, she was at my door, tears streaming. "You can't do this. I can't afford it. Why now?" I let her stand there before answering. "Because apparently I'm just a loser, and losers don't owe you anything." She barged in, flopped onto my couch, and launched into excuses. Finals, her part-time job, how exhausted she was. "You could have told me you were upset," she whined. "I did. Yesterday. Loudly." She waved it off. "That wasn't serious." "Neither was your budgeting," I shot back. Her eyes scanned my apartment, the space heater, the frayed couch, as if realizing for the first time how little I had. "Why stop helping now?" she demanded. "Because I finally believe you," I said. "Yesterday wasn't an accident. It's who you are." I asked why Grandma and Grandpa weren't at the party. She hesitated. "Mom said they'd complain about the music. Grandpa talks too much." I laughed bitterly. Funny how people become inconvenient after they've helped you. At 10:01 a.m., Grandma left a voicemail. "We heard what happened. We weren't invited either. We're proud of you. We'll be there soon with coffee." Jessica's face fell. "You told them not to come?" "It wasn't just me," she muttered. "Mom said Grandpa would steal my spotlight." "So, you're fine with people being invisible? As long as it's not you." She stormed out as Grandma and Grandpa arrived. They brought coffee, muffins, and unconditional support. "You don't owe them anything," Grandma said. Grandpa added, "She called you a loser? You're the only one in this family who does anything without expecting applause." After they left, I called Dad. "I'm done paying Jessica's way." He sighed. "You're good with money. Why stop now?" "Because I'm not her safety net," I said, hanging up. Later, Cousin Megan visited, awkward but remorseful. "I laughed when Jessica called you a loser." "I'm sorry." She admitted she was leaving the family drama for grad school. Then she showed me a screenshot. Jessica, bragging to friends about how I paid her bills while mocking me. "He's obsessed with being included," Jessica had written. "Hope he heard me. He's a loser." I dropped the screenshot in the family chat without comment. The group went silent. Aunt Linda left. I drove to my parents' house. Mom answered, eyes red. Dad sat stiffly. I laid it all out. Years of neglect, being used, then humiliated. "I'm done," I said. "I posted the truth online. Let the world see who you really are." They had no defense. That night, an old friend, Leo, called after seeing my Reddit post. We met for dinner, laughing about old times. No family drama, just real connection. Days later, Cousin Ryan found me at the store. He handed me $60.20 in an envelope. Inside, a note. "For every month I pretended you weren't important. Lunch is on me." It wasn't about the money. It was acknowledgement. Someone finally saw me. Grandma was right. I didn't want it to end. I wanted it to get better, but some chapters don't close. They just turn. A week after my Reddit post went viral, the fallout became impossible to ignore. My phone buzzed constantly. Some messages supportive, others furious. Distant relatives I hadn't heard from in years suddenly had opinions. Then came the email from Jessica's university's financial aid office. Subject: urgent tuition payment. Dear Mr. Daniels, we show an outstanding balance of $3,200 for Jessica Daniels' fall semester. As you've been the primary payer, we wanted to confirm whether this will be settled as usual or if alternative arrangements. I deleted it without replying. That afternoon, Mom called for the first time since the confrontation. I let it go to voicemail. Her message was strained. "Daniel, we need to talk. Jessica's saying you're refusing her tuition now, after all she's worked for? This isn't funny." I texted back one sentence. Neither was being called a loser at her graduation. The workplace revelation. At work, my colleague Mark hesitated near my desk. "Hey, that Reddit post, was that you?" I stiffened. "Why?" My wife showed me. She thought it sounded familiar. He slid a printed job listing toward me. "We're hiring at my brother's firm. Starting salary's 40% more than here. Thought you should know." For the first time, my family drama had opened a door instead of closing one. Jessica's desperation. Jessica showed up again, this time at my workplace. Her nails were bitten raw, her usually perfect hair in a messy bun. "They're threatening to deregister me," she hissed in the parking lot. "Do you know what that does to my transcripts?" I kept walking. "Guess you'll have to get a third job. Dad says he'll cover it if you apologize." I stopped, turned. "For what? Existing?" Her face twisted. "For embarrassing us online." I laughed, a real, unburdened sound. "Funny, I thought truth wasn't embarrassing unless it should be." The grandparents' ultimatum. At Sunday dinner, which I now attended only with Grandma and Grandpa, Grandpa dropped a bombshell. "We're rewriting the will." He pushed a document across the table. "Your parents get the lake house. You get the investment portfolio and our Florida condo. I choked on my iced tea. That's 80% of your net worth. Grandma patted my hand. We know who our real family is. The final text. Mom, your father had chest pains after your last email. The doctor says it's stress. Are you happy now? Me. Ask Jessica if she's happy with her unpaid tuition. No reply. Epilogue, 6 months later. Jessica took a semester off to work at a diner. Last I heard, she'd moved in with a boyfriend our parents hate. Dad's chest pains vanished when the hospital bill arrived. I took Mark's referral and doubled my income. Every Sunday, I have brunch with Grandma and Grandpa. We laugh louder than we ever did at family gatherings. Sometimes, cutting ties isn't an ending. It's the first page of a better story. 1 year later, the first anniversary of the Post came and went without fanfare. I spent it painting the walls of my new home, Grandma and Grandpa's Florida condo, now legally mine. The salt air smelled like freedom. Aunt Linda accidentally forwarded me an email chain. From Jessica, Daniels@scsu.edu. To parents. Subject, RE, student loans. I don't care if the interest rate is 8%. You promised I wouldn't have debt. This is all Daniel's fault. The rest was cut off, but the tone was clear. According to Grandpa, who still got weekly gossip from the VFW hall, Jessica had dropped out after failing 2 courses. She was now working as a leasing agent at a rundown apartment complex. The poetic justice wasn't lost on me. Mom sent a Christmas card, just one, addressed only to me. Inside, a generic snowman scene and a handwritten note. We sold the Yukon to cover Jessica's spring semester. Your father's hair turned white. Hope you're satisfied. I framed it next to my new job offer letter. Ryan started texting me memes every Friday. Then came the confession. Mom cried when she saw your Reddit post. Said she always knew but didn't want to rock the boat. Now she's in therapy. Last month, he visited Florida. We drank beer on my patio as he admitted, I think you gave us all permission to stop pretending. Turns out, Grandpa had been keeping receipts for decades. One night, over bourbon, he slid a faded photo across the table. Dad at 22, sobbing into his hands after Grandpa refused to bail him out of a gambling debt. Your father forgot what it means to earn things, he said. You never had that luxury. The unexpected gift. Leo, the high school friend, introduced me to his sister's book club. There I met Elena, a psychology resident who'd read my post and promptly dumped her own toxic family. Our first date lasted 9 hours. Now she leaves post-its on my mirror. Your worth isn't transactional. Proud of you. We're out of coffee, normal things, healing things. The last voicemail. Jessica called at 3:17 a.m. last Tuesday, drunk from the sound of it. You win, okay? I'm the villain in your stupid story. But at least I never had to buy love like some. The line cut off. I didn't save it. This morning I received a bank alert, a $600 deposit from an unknown account. The memo line read, for the couch. I know who sent it. I also know she'll never admit it. Some wounds don't close cleanly. But as Elena reminds me, scars are just proof you survived. One evening, as I sat on the balcony of my Florida condo with Leo and his wife, my high school friend who'd reconnected with me, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink, my phone buzzed, an unfamiliar number. Normally, I'd ignore it, but something made me answer. A hesitant voice spoke. Daniel? It's Jessica. No anger, no blame, just exhaustion. I'm calling because I think I owe you an apology. A real one. Leo's wife quietly squeezed my shoulder and stepped inside, giving me space. I took a deep breath. Go on. Jessica's voice cracked. I've spent this last year blaming you for everything. But the truth is, I was angry at myself. Angry that I couldn't do it alone. Angry that I needed you, then acted like you were the problem. Silence stretched between us. For the first time in years, I didn't rush to fill it. I'm not asking for money, she continued, or even forgiveness. I just needed you to know I see it now. All of it. I closed my eyes. The resentment I'd carried felt lighter, as if her words had loosened its grip. Thank you for saying that, I said. But this isn't just about me. What happens next? A shaky breath. I'm going back to school, taking loans like everyone else, and seeing a therapist. Turns out our family's mess didn't just hurt you. A small smile tugged at my lips. Good. We didn't reconcile fully that day. Some wounds need time. But for the first time, I felt hope. Not for the family we'd been, but for the people we could become. As I hung up, Leo walked out with 2 beers. You okay? I nodded. Yeah, I think I am. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in darkness. But for the first time in a long time, the future felt bright. The end. If you enjoyed this story and felt the emotions behind it, don't forget to give it a like, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel for more real-life experiences and heartfelt stories. Your support means the world, and it helps us bring more content like this to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.